Hello, Mike. It's a great pleasure to have you again in Germany. And thank you very much that you give us that big support. You come for 2 sessions, each for 90 minutes, so we get all the insights of Forms 14.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the invitation. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, pass our big thank for Shay Schmelzer to give you the approval to come here. And we are very, very glad to have you here to get first-hand information. So I will give you a hard time because I'm here to ask the questions from the community.
Excellent.
So the very first and important question, because Santa Claus is near, are there any rumors? Oracle has announced to bring out Forms 14 this year with the statement of direction. So there is a kind of official statement. Can Oracle keep this?
We are working really hard at staying on plan and staying on track. We are still targeting this calendar year, so we have about 6 weeks left, and hopefully we will we'll get a good delivery at Christmas time, maybe before.
So the 23rd of December is realistic?
Maybe sooner.
Okay, that would be great. Forms 14 is a great release, which is already much awaited. It's a long-time release for a long, long time. What are your 3 favorite new options, or what do you think which particular stuff would bring big benefit to the Forms customers?
Oh, wow. We don't have enough time in this interview to go through all of them. So the development team has done an outstanding job introducing not only new features, but enhancing existing ones. And I think probably the most exciting new feature is going to be in the enhancements that we've made to the user interface. So now developers will have a much easier time improving the application's look and feel to more modern standards. And that, I think, is going to reintroduce some life, not only into the product, but into the applications that the developers have invested so much time in. So yeah, user interface is definitely at the top of the list. A very close second to that is going to be our REST integration. The idea that we've now exposed a way in which you no longer have to rely solely on obtaining your data from an Oracle database is tremendous. It's a huge leap forward for us. Now you'll be able to access data from third parties much more easily. With REST being a pretty much industry standard, the ability to access that data remotely through REST is going to be tremendous. So I'm excited about that one. And again, the list is very, very long of improvements that we've introduced. Continuous query notification, new installation options. Just an amazing job the development team has done. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Well, you named more than 3 topics.
I know you want that third one, don't you? That's a tough one. Probably CQN. I mentioned CQN, continuous query notification. That's a good one. So that's been a feature in the database for quite a long time now, probably since, maybe version 10 or 11 of the database. But we've exposed a way in which now in Forms you could take advantage of that. And for anyone that's not familiar with CQN, essentially what it is a notification mechanism to your applications. So now your Forms application will have the ability to know automatically that some data that the user is working with has changed out from behind them, which is important. Imagine working with inventory data, and while you're looking at the inventory data, a different user changes that data. Maybe sells some products off the shelf that you didn't know about. Well, now your application could be made aware of that change, and the user that's looking at the old data can be notified that their data potentially is old and get the update in real time, basically. So yeah, definitely going to be a valuable one.
Sounds interesting. But
cool.
Some customers lost their trust in Oracle Forms because the new release took so long. We have sent the petition 2019 to you, and since then you're working, and people do not really understand why does it take so long. You have the WebLogic team, you have the database team, you have the Java team, and of course the Forms team. They all need to work together, we know that. But why does it take so long? What do you think? Why is this process postponed a couple of times, and we now have to wait already 5 years to get this great product?
You're tough. You're
Yes,
definitely tough. So that is a really good question, and I've even asked myself that question quite a few times. For our part, for the forms team's part, we have been we always actively work on tomorrow's version, and we'll talk about that as well in just a minute. But as the company Oracle works toward cloud, I guess is a good way to describe it. We tend to share our resources, and what we're finding is a lot of focus going toward cloud. So as we started to develop 14, the group, Fusion Middleware Group, we started to see that our resources were working on both sides at the same time. So with cloud being so important, I don't want to say forms and middleware took a back step, but we kind of did. We worked in parallel at the same time. We worked on cloud and middleware at the same time, but because now everybody was working on two things at once, production kind of slowed us down a little bit. But more importantly, along the way, new technologies came out and decisions were made to introduce those new technologies into this 14 stack. And I think that actually was a good delay. We delayed at least twice that I recall, where we were instructed to add new functionality that we had not planned on. And part of the reasoning was it was decided that, this new technology is really exciting. Can we add it into 14? And the development teams agreed that it was possible, so we went ahead and did it. So what you're going to get in 14 now is actually different than what we had planned originally, in a good way. So I'm excited. It's
well, we get a 23 database client with resource files on premise before the database itself. So this is quite impressive.
Yeah, this will probably be the first time in my 25 years at the company that the database version and the forms version will be in sync with each other, where the version we release will actually be based on the current version of the database. So this will be This is going to be exciting.
Pretty cool. Yeah. Well, I have one interesting question, because I know some customers that went away from forms. They tried with .NET, with Apex, with all the other technologies to replace forms. And in all those attempts, you have completely to rearrange the GUI, you have to redesign a lot of stuff, but they are stuck. Like they start a project with 10, 15 people, and after 3-4 years they're stuck. They have like 400, 500 forms, and after 3 years they have 10 or 15 forms migrated. They cannot finish the project. What would you recommend people who want to leave forms? How could they check that they get not lost in the whole process? And what would you say would be the benefit to stay with forms?
I think probably of the discussions I've had with customers myself, one of the things I notice almost every time is that the idea of moving to another technology happens as a non-technical decision. And unfortunately, by doing that, you run the risk of making a bad decision, because you're attempting to move to a technology that maybe cannot do what your requirements require. And probably the number one thing I believe that you should be doing is at least outline your technical requirements. Look at what your current application does. Look at what your current application cannot do. And then most importantly, look at what your current technology stack is capable of doing. So even if your application doesn't do it, can this technology stack you're using accomplish or meet those goals that your new requirements have? If they can, then why not just extend what you have that already works and make it better? Because starting over from scratch is very likely a multiple year project and could go wrong. It might, in the end, you might find it's not possible to get to the finish line. And we've seen that many, many times. So with forms still being actively developed, right now I see no reason to move away from it unless you have a true technical reason that you can no longer use it.
Well, you already announced last year that you're already working on a Forms 15 version, and probably during the meantime you have added some new ideas and features. Can you give us a sneak preview of a cool feature which will come with Forms 15?
I could tell you, but I'd have to shoot you.
Now,
like I said, we are always working on tomorrow's version, which in and of itself makes this job so exciting. That's why I love what I do. We have started working on the next release already, and obviously we're looking at things like AI. That is the talk of the town. Everybody wants to know about AI. So we started looking at how does AI play a role in a forms application. And we think we have some pretty good ideas going forward. We'll do our best to take advantage of what our own database offers, but at the same time, we'll potentially introduce things that no one else has. And I think when we end up at that finish line, we will be in a similar case to where we ended up with 14, where by the time we get to the end, we will surprise ourselves in what we ended up with.
Yeah. Well, one last question. 2029, we celebrate the 50th birthday of Forms.
Wow.
Would you come to the birthday party?
If you're if you're inviting me,
okay,
and
great,
and the heavens are willing to let me be here,
great. I've already spoken with Zoab Abazi. He said he will come. He's quite old. Bill Friend will probably come too. So all the heroes would come together. So the last question to that topic. When did you meet Larry Ellison last time, and is he still behind the product? He has brought it to life. It was originally his idea. Is he still connected with it? And do you know anything, any position of the company, how they will continue with Forms?
I have never met Larry Ellison, but I would love to. Hopefully I'll get that opportunity before I retire. He still plays a very active role technically in the company, and we're happy about that because he's an incredibly creative person and just generally incredibly knowledgeable. It's just amazing to me how he's managed to keep up with all this technology all these years and still, be in the role that he is, and it's just amazing to me. I would love to meet him just to have that experience.
Okay, maybe he comes to the birthday party too.
Invite him.
Maybe with Zoom. Maybe we will.
Sure.
See. Okay, thank you very much for having you here once more, and great to have a lot of sessions.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.